لا إله إلا الله 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 لا إله إلا الله جود علينا الله لا إله إلا الله جود علينا
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. After praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and sending infinite salutations, peace and blessings upon the best of creation, the jewel and crown of creation, the beloved of Allah Almighty, the coolness to our eyes, the purpose of our lives, the reviver of our hearts, the inspirer to our minds, the awakener of our souls, the most honored one, the most praised one, the most generous one, the most kind one. Undoubtedly, he is the most beautiful one. None other than Sayyiduna Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa barak wa sallam. From amongst the great prophets that Allah Almighty sent to mankind with the mission and objective of guiding mankind to take them out of darkness and to place them into light. Amongst the many great prophets that Allah Almighty sent, Sayyiduna Ibrahim, Khalilullah, alayhi salam, is arguably one of the greatest prophets of Allah. Sayyiduna Ibrahim, known as Khalilur Rahman. Khalil in the Arabic language translates in English to best friend. And Sayyiduna Ibrahim was gifted and bestowed this title of being referred to as Allah's best friend. And the reason why the Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, ala nabiyyina wa alayhi salam, is referred to as Khalil is because Allah Almighty tested Sayyiduna Ibrahim time and time again. Sayyiduna Ibrahim alayhi salam reached a very old age and would constantly make dua asking Allah Almighty to bestow and bless him with a son. Sayyidina Ibrahim, as a young man, he went and broke the idols of the idol worshippers in Babylon. And Babylonia, in ancient geography, is the place today in modern geography known as Iraq. So Babylon is where Sayyidina Ibrahim was, and he, alayhi salam, broke all the idols. And when the people of Babylon asked who broke the idols, because they had all gone away for a festival, they came back to find that all the idols that they were worshipping were broken into pieces. And the axe which broke the idols was on the shoulder of the big idol. And they asked Sayyidina Ibrahim, they asked who didn't follow us in this festival. And they said, oh Ibrahim, that young man. So they summoned Sayyidina Ibrahim and said, did you break all the idols? And Sayyidina Ibrahim said, where is the axe? Where the axe is, then it is there you should ask the question. And they responded and said, the axe is on next to the big idol. And Sayyidina Ibrahim, so intelligent, his intelligence was phenomenal. The intelligence of Sayyidina Ibrahim was phenomenal. Said, then go ask the big idol who has the axe if he broke it or he did break it. And this in itself was an answer to all the objections that they had against Tawheed. And this was the answer of Sayyidina Ibrahim. And this was his way of guiding them people. To tell them that you worship idols. You worship this stone. And this stone that you're worshipping, this is where the axe is. Therefore ask this question, knowing full well that these stones, these idols are unable to speak and respond. So Sayyidina Ibrahim is telling them that if you ask this idol, which you can ask, and he will not respond, for it's an idol, it's an innate object, then how are you asking someone who will never respond to you for help? How can you worship someone who can't hear you or see you? It's just stone. And when Sayyidina Ibrahim said this, they said, oh, you are mocking us. So they prepared a fire. They ravaged and ignited such a fire, it is said that its flame would touch the clouds. Such a large fire. And they threw Sayyidina Ibrahim into the fire. And when they threw Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam into the fire, at that time, فما كان جواب قومه إلا أن قالوا اقتلوه أو حرقوه فأنجاه الله من النار. In Surah Al-Ankabut, Allah Almighty said, فما كان جواب قومه. So they had no answer to Sayyidina Ibrahim except اقتلوه, kill him, أو حرقوه, burn him. فأنجاه الله من النار. Allah Almighty saved him from the fire. When Sayyidina Ibrahim was thrown into the fire, Allah Almighty sent Sayyidina Jibreel immediately, and Sayyidina Jibreel said, Kuni bardan wa salaman ala Ibrahim. O fire, become cold, cool. Salaman, calm, peaceful for Ibrahim alayhi salam. And Sayyidina Ibrahim said that the greatest moments of my life were spent inside that fire. The greatest moments in my life were the moments that I spent inside the fire. And for us to relate to this, some of the greatest moments in our life will be in our most difficult moments. When there will be storms and there will be fires burning in our lives around us. And I don't mean literally, I mean metaphorically. Metaphorically, figuratively. The stress, the tensions, the problems burning around us like the fire burnt around Sayyidina Ibrahim. Sayyidina Ibrahim's yaqeen, Sayyidina Ibrahim's iman, his faith and trust in Allah, his tawakkul, his reliance in Allah Almighty was so strong that Allah Almighty ordered the archangel Jibreel, go and read these words, Kuni bardan wa salaman ala Ibrahim. O fire, become cold and peaceful upon Ibrahim. Everything around Sayyidina Ibrahim was burning, and he said it was like I was in the gardens of paradise. And the key in all of this, when you're going through difficulty and hardship in life, is what? Your tawakkul and yaqeen billah. Your trust and reliance in Allah Almighty. Your faith in Allah Almighty has to be strong. You mustn't give up. You mustn't think, oh, I'm making dua, my du'as are not accepted. Oh, Allah Almighty won't do anything for me. You can't give up this faith. You cannot give up this belief and tawakkul in Allah. Your tawakkul and yaqeen in Allah, your trust in Allah Almighty needs to be so strong. As strong as when the Prophet ﷺ said about the trust and the faith and the tawakkul and reliance of birds in Allah Almighty. You know, birds, they go to sleep at night with so much tawakkul in Allah that tomorrow Their food is written for them. They don't go out hoarding all the food for tomorrow, thinking tomorrow, if it comes, I won't have nothing to eat. They have so much tawakkul that in the morning, when Allah gives them life to wake up, they go out and they hunt, and Allah Almighty has the rizq ready for them. Your tawakkul in Allah and your yaqeen in Allah has to be strong. And this is a key ingredient, a key component, a key aspect of every Nabi of Allah Almighty's life. Whichever Nabi of Allah Almighty's life you study and read, you read the story of Sayyidina Adam, you read the story of Sayyidina Nuh, you read this story of Sayyidina Ibrahim, you read the story of Sayyidina Lut, Sayyidina Ayyub, Sayyidina Musa, Sayyidina Zakaria, Sayyidina Yahya, Sayyidina Dawood, Sayyidina Sulaiman. Every Nabi and Rasul had the greatest tawakkul and yaqeen in Allah Almighty. And our Nabi and Rasul alayhi salatu wassalam had greater than all of them put together. Our Nabi and Rasul's tawakkul and yaqeen in Allah, study the seerah of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, this reliance in Allah, this unconditional dependency, unconditional trust and reliance in Allah, that ufawwidu amri ilallah. All my matters, Allah Almighty will deal with. Allah deals with my every matter. When Sayyidina Musa said, wa ufawwidu amri ilallah, I leave all my matters to Allah Almighty. Allah Almighty then said, we rescued Musa. Musa trusted in me. Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam is fleeing with his people from the tyranny of Fir'aun. He arrives at the sea. It's a dead end. To me and you, it's a dead end in life. But his tawakkul and yaqeen in Allah Almighty was so strong. So much yaqeen and tawakkul Sayyidina Musa ala nabiyyina wa alayhi salam had. This great Nabi and Rasul of Allah Almighty, the most mentioned Nabi and Rasul in the Quran, the most talked about story in the Quran, the story of Sayyidina Musa and Bani Israel. When he arrived at this dead end, on the apparent it's a dead end. But when he called upon Allah Almighty, Allah Almighty split the sea into two halves for him. And the motorway opened up and his people were saved. Sometimes when you get to the rock bottom point in your life, the hardest point in your life, this is where your true tawakkul and yaqeen in Allah Almighty comes. Do you give up your faith in Allah Almighty, or does your faith in Allah increase at that point? Does it get so strong at that point that you are able to face and take on every challenge that Allah Almighty puts before you? And when we look at these challenges, tests, for the purpose of our existence on this world, Allah Almighty said we send man to be tested. And in Surah Al-Ankabut, how does Allah begin? حَسِبَ النَّاسُ أَن يُتْرَكُوا أَن يَقُولُوا آمَنَّا وَهُمْ لَا يُفْتَنُونَ. And then Allah gives examples of tests. Does man think, Alif, Lam, Mim, 3 letters, Huruf, Muqatta'a. These letters, only Allah and His Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam know what they mean. The knowledge of these letters is kept a mystery from me and you. These are huruf that only Allah and His Rasul know the meaning of. Alif, Lam, Mim. And there's others as well, like Taha, Yasin, Hamim, Kaf, Ha, Ya, Ain, Sad. Huruf, these are letters of the Quran that only Allah and His Rasul know. As soon as Allah Almighty, as soon after, as this is mentioned, أَحَسِبَ النَّاسُ أَن يُتْرَكُوا أَن يَقُولُوا آمَنَّا وَهُمْ لَا يُفْتَنُونَ. What does man think? Does mankind assume, does he think that he will say, Amanna, we have iman in Allah, we believe in Allah Almighty, وَهُمْ لَا يُفْتَنُونَ, and Allah's not going to test them. The moment you said, La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, you now have automatically entered into this test from Allah. He is now going to test your iman. He's going to test your finances. He's going to test your family. He's going to test your health. He's going to test everything. He will test you. This is the whole purpose of our existence on this earth, is to be tested. Sometimes tests are sent to bring us closer to Allah. Sometimes tests are sent and to see how we react to them. And many a time, unfortunately, people are tested and they get far from Allah. Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anh, he said, he was asked a question, how do you know if Allah Almighty is testing me or punishing me? How do you know if Allah Almighty is testing me or He is punishing me? And Sayyidina Ali ibn Abi Talib, Babu Dar al-Ilm, Babu Dar al-Hikmah, Babu Bayt al-Ilm, the door to the city of knowledge, Babu Madinat al-Ilm, the door to the house of knowledge, to the house of wisdom. Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu, he said, if when Allah Almighty is testing you, you get closer to Him at the end of it, then know that Allah Almighty was testing you, not punishing you. And if Allah Almighty, and He will test you, and after the test, you have got far away from Him, you've moved away from Allah Almighty, then know that Allah Almighty is punishing you. So if you want to know if Allah is testing you or punishing you, then the yardstick that you measure this with is how you react to that test. If your reaction to the test is to get closer to Allah, then you've done well. Then Allah is testing you and you will be rewarded. And if you are getting further away from Allah Almighty, then Allah Almighty is punishing this person, for he has moved away from Him. This is a punishment from Allah. And nobody was more tested than the Anbiya wa Rasul. Nobody was more tested than the likes of Sayyidina Ibrahim. And how Allah Almighty tested him. He was thrown into the fire. Then the people drove Sayyidina Ibrahim out. He migrated from Babylon to Palestine, to Greater Syria, the Levant. Sayyidina Ibrahim continued like this. And when Sayyidina Ibrahim was traveling towards Palestine, he went with his wives, and Sayyidina Ibrahim traveled with Sayyidina Lut alayhi salam. Sayyidina Lut, he is the nephew of Sayyidina Ibrahim. He is Sayyidina Ibrahim's sister's son. So Sayyidina Ibrahim was Sayyidina Lut's mamu. And Sayyidina Lut, of course younger in age, Sayyidina Lut, he was sent to the people of Sodom and Gomorrah. He was sent to the people of Sodomites. This group of people, my brothers, there's a space here in this front saf, right at the front. There is 3 spaces here as well. Where you find a spot, please go there. There's 4 spaces here. So any brothers who come, Hamad, send them to the 3rd saf. If brothers want to move forward, can move forward for more sawab. Allah give them more ajr. The closer you are to the front saf, the more Allah Almighty will reward you. Zaid Sahab, do you safar with jagah hai? There's space in that 3rd saf as well. There's space right next to Saeed, just over there. I have to do 2-3 jobs in one. I have to lecture and also direct. Sorry, I don't mind. Kills a bit of time. You 4 more spaces there. You can send 4 more people. If there's any more space, Naveed, 1 space there, yeah? Okay, so next people come in, then तुसा इशारा दियो ना कि मैं अपना काम जारी रखना तुसा जारी रखो. اللهم صل على Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Sayyidina Lut alayhi salam, he migrated with Sayyidina Ibrahim from Babylon to Palestine. Near the Dead Sea there was a village, a town called Sodom. And the people in that town, they used to rob people and murder people. That town was known for robbery and murder. And sadly, they did one evil act that had never been done before them. And this was the act of homosexuality. This act was that, al-iyadhu billah, men would sleep with men, women would sleep with women. What today we find as LGBTQ. Now, this started in that time. Today it's gaining prominence. But this fitna, this evil of men sleeping with men, women sleeping with women, which is haram, qat'an haram. The act of homosexuality is completely forbidden in Islam. It has never been men with men, women with women. It was never Adam and Steve. It was always Adam and Eve. It was never Adam and Steve. But the world today wants to promote this rhetoric that it is Adam and Steve. When Allah Almighty said in the Quran, Ya ayyuhan nas, O mankind, inna khalaqnakum min dhakarin wa untha. Indeed, we have created you from one man and one woman. وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ شُعُوبًا وَقَبَائِلَ لِتَعَارَفُوا. And then we made you into tribes. We made you into nations. We made you from certain areas. And what was the objective of making people from the Far East, the Middle East, the Arabs, the Asians, the Africans, the Americans? Why this variety? Why this true definition of diversity? Currently in schools, right now, it is meant to be National Diversity Week. And the rainbow colors are out. And the rainbow colors symbolize homosexuality. The rainbow colors symbolize lesbian, gays, transsexuals, queers, bisexuals, all of this. Many people will say, Imam Sahib, it's a taboo subject. Why are you talking about this? My brothers, if we as ulama and imams do not speak and raise our voices on this issue, and the agenda which is being promoted right now within schools and workplaces, the agenda which is against the teachings of Islam, if we do not teach our children this today, then they will go to school and be taught a new narrative. And al-iyadhu billah, may Allah save our children. What if they come home and say, Dad, it is absolutely fine for me to hold a boy's hand. It is absolutely fine for me to sleep in the same bed as a boy. Because this is what they're teaching. We can turn a blind eye to it, but that's the truth. And I'll tell you this week, Maulana Ustaz Hassan Jabbar, who's a teacher here, originally from Telford, he received a text message from his daughter's primary school. And in the text message it said that this week we are going to teach your daughter sexuality. We will teach them our version effectively of what sexuality and diversity and genderism really is. And this is also happening in Bradford Girls Grammar School. This past week, letters were written to the parents that the girls will participate in Diversity Week. And the girls are going to be indoctrinated. The boys are going to be indoctrinated. It's going to become part of the school syllabus, part of the school teaching, PHSE. This is going to be the norm in society. Football, in every aspect of sports, that we want to be inclusive of everyone. The hukam on homosexuality is clear. Any person who believes that doing the act of homosexuality is permissible in Islam, that person is outside the folds of Islam. He is not a Muslim. Whoever believes that a man can be with a man, a woman can be, whoever believes this, then that person has left the folds of Islam. Whoever practices homosexuality, then that person has committed an act which is haram, and whoever commits an act which is haram will go to the fire of Jahannam. It is as simple as this, that this act is haram qat'an. When Sayyidina Lut said to these people, what are you doing? This is haram, this is forbidden. Allah Almighty is going to punish you. They laughed at Sayyidina Lut, they mocked Sayyidina Lut. Even Sayyidina Lut's wife was complicit of this. She didn't speak against these people. Sayyidina Lut continued to advise them for years. He told them, look, stop this is haram. What are you doing? They didn't listen to Sayyidina Lut. Allah Almighty then sent angels to Sayyidina Ibrahim in the form of humans. And those angels went to Sayyidina Ibrahim when he reached an old age to give Sayyidina Ibrahim good news that Allah is going to give him a boy. Then, because this village was only a day and a night far from Sayyidina Lut's village, those angels in the form of humans came to the village of Sayyidina Lut. And Sayyidina Lut's daughter seen them. She came running home and said to her father, this Nabi of Allah, Hazrat Lut, that, oh my father, I've seen 3 of the most handsome men I've ever seen. Now she was a mu'minah. She believed in Allah. She did not do nothing haram. And they have nowhere to go, nowhere to stay. Sayyidina Lut, he said, look, we will tell them where to go. The angels insisted that let us stay the night in your house. And fitna is fitna, rumors circulated in the village. Hey, look what Lut is doing now. All his life he's preached to us not to have men in the house with men, etc., etc. Who went and exposed Sayyidina Lut? Can you tell me who exposed Sayyidina Lut to those people? 3 men here. Sayyidina Lut thought, what's going to happen now? And then the angel said to Sayyidina Lut, we are angels sent by Allah. By tomorrow morning, this entire nation will be destroyed. Then Allah Almighty sent an earthquake in that village and town, destroyed their homes. And then Allah Almighty sent stones and rocks from the skies and pelted them to death. These people who committed this act of haram were punished. Allah Almighty finished them. And Allah Almighty destroyed them. Because 1, they didn't listen to the Nabi of Allah. 2, they disobeyed Allah Almighty. They did what was haram. And Allah Almighty finished them. But sadly, as time has gone on, the remains of this act of hurma, haram, has continued. And Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam said, towards the end of time, men will want to be like women, women will want to be like men, homosexuality will be rampant, widespread. And sadly, my brothers, we are living in that time where the new norm in society is that this is absolutely accepted. This is why it is necessary upon all the ulama, necessary upon every madrasa, to start teaching the children and preaching to the congregation the true message of Islam when it comes to genderism. People say gender equality. It was always man and woman. There was never a scenario or a case of, you had the odd hermaphrodites where a man is born or a woman is born with male genitalia, etc. You've got absolutely rare cases like this. But it was always man and woman. Now we have transgenderism. Men will take female hormones and become women. Women will say, I'm no longer a woman, I'm a man. I can go, they're saying that the word mother can no longer be used. You can't call her mum no more. How? She's your mother. This is the world, this is what the world's becoming. Soon there will be toilets where men and women will mix because gender equality, we're equal. And this is not just the teachings of Islam. The very same teachings are found in Christianity, and the very same teachings are found in Judaism. The three major religions in the world oppose homosexuality. Now I'm not going to sit here and say that, we've heard of narrations where if there's a man who's committed the act of homosexuality, take him to the top of a mountain, throw him down and throw a boulder of rock behind him. This is what the books have written. We don't live in that time. This may have been written. This is the past. The reality is now, here in this circumstance, the situation we find ourselves in a world of freedom of speech, freedom of expression, we must educate our children on the story of Hazrat Lut. We must educate them on Sayyidina Adam and Sayyidina Hawa. We must educate them on Sayyidina Isa and Sayyidina Maryam. We must educate them on the great Sahaba and the Sahabiyat. We must teach them the true message of Islam when it comes to these issues. Because the schools are going to make it mandatory. Look, before it was just we heard. Now it's National Diversity Week. We are inclusive of everyone. We don't exclude everyone. We must respect everyone. But the reality is, in our hearts we oppose. This is not what we believe. I'm sorry. We can't accept this. This is against the teachings of Islam. How can I accept what's going on here? We can't, and we have to speak out. And parents are struggling right now. Parents contacted me this week. Imam Sahib, there's a huge issue on our doorstep. Our daughters, and you know what you should do as parents? You should go to your school, speak to the head teacher, speak to the council, the head of governors, the governing body or the governors within the school. You should speak to the directors of the school. You should go to the local councillors. You should go to the local MPs. You have every right to take your child out of that class. You have every right to say, I oppose that my daughter or my son is taught this in this school. They will do English, math, science, but this is something I disagree with. And this is my right. I have the right to know what my child is being educated, and I will not want them to be known this aspect. Astaghfirullah, they're teaching young children at the age of 5, 6, 7, they're just completely sexualizing them, targeting them, corrupting their minds from a young age. Pornography is widespread amongst young people. Why? From a young age. Illicit relationships, all of this is happening. It starts from a young age now. At the age of 5, 6 in schools they teach stuff as this. And then they become desensitized. And it becomes normal. Absolutely normal for a guy to walk in hand with a guy. And when we talk homosexuality, I'll be brutally honest. We can say what we want in this country. Sadly, in Pakistan, the amount of homosexuality there, astaghfirullah wal-iyadhu billah, it is shocking. If adhab doesn't come upon those people, what will come? If Allah does not send earthquakes on those people, if Allah does not send natural disasters on those people, what will come on those people? The amount of baghairati and behayai that goes on in Pakistan, it is shocking. These are Muslim people. My brothers, this act is haram. It is haram. We must oppose this. And we must speak out against this. We must educate our children. We must raise awareness, countering this, countering the narrative that is put out there. You as parents need to teach your children. I know for a long time, we don't want to teach them sexuality and no, it's a taboo subject. He's young, how can you? But now we have to teach them what Islam says. What Islam says about getting married, what Islam says about genderism, what Islam says about homosexuality, and all of these issues have to be taught in our madaris. We can no longer oppose this and say, oh, no, how dare you? No, we have to teach them. If we don't teach them as Muslims, where are they going to learn this? In schools, on TV. They make cartoons where David is walking with Ian, for example. You know, this is shocking. There's cartoons and it's on every level this is happening. And we have to speak out. We must oppose this. And we must go back to the Quran and Sunnah. My brothers and sisters, everything is in Allah's kalam. Everything is in the Quran. Open the Quran and you will find the answers. You will hear and read the history. Nations were destroyed because of these acts of haram. May Allah Almighty protect our people. Protect this ummah from this fitna. May Allah Almighty shower His khas karam and fadl upon each and every one of us. وأقول قولي هذا أستغفر الله لي ولكم وآخر دعواي الحمد لله رب العالمين.
لا إله إلا الله 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 لا إله إلا الله جود علينا ها الله لا إله إلا الله جود علينا